Here we go. So, 3, 2, 1, and we're live. Cool. Okay, cool. Welcome to the XXL podcast with myself, Josh Eastham, and my co-host, Dro Spenlove. Today is a late one. Dro. It's the old American accent coming through since we're going abroad today with our podcasting. Today we have Jason Graves. Now, me and Drew know nothing about Jason Graves, other than he's got a pretty incredible story, and he's the friend of Amanda Laws. So this could be interesting. And I know he's got certain bits of his story which are pretty rabbit hole-ish that we could go down. So I'm really interested to talk to him. He has an incredible story, and I think he's about to come in and have an incredible background. So without further ado, let's get him in. We'll start it with a aloha. There he is.
There he is.
So just getting that connected.
Aloha.
Aloha.
What are you doing?
How are we, Jason?
The guitar out and everything. I love it.
Beautiful.
Blessed. Welcome to Hawaii.
Well,
and I guess to the UK.
Yeah. I was going to say, welcome to a somewhat warm, sunny UK, although it's dark now. That is a pretty incredible background you've got there, Jason.
I'll move out of your way, because obviously I'm in the way of this one. Yeah. It's,
wow.
It's Hawaii.
That's paradise.
God, how depressing is that?
I know it's shocking. I know that'd probably be the worst bit of the video for everyone. Don't let me see that again.
Jason, thank you for coming on. It's a pleasure to have you, and especially it's magical to be the other side of the world with obviously a view like that, and to be able to come on and use this kind of technology to come on. We found out about you through Amanda Laws, a good friend of yours, I believe, and she said that you had just an incredible story, as well as obviously you wrote this book. Is it The Tropical Apocalypse? Am I right in saying that's the right name?
Yeah, Tropical Apocalypse. Yeah.
Which, am I right in saying that is a non-fictional, like captured parts of your story and then kind of filled in small gaps with like kind of your own writing and your own creativity?
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, I guess. It's a real story. It's just me, my background, something profound that happened when I was living in the Caribbean back in 2005. Just got married, and this whole story erupted in my life. And the reason the book got written, with all the parts that you see there, is because they wouldn't leave me alone until I got the story down and put it in a book. Then it left me. But until I'd done that part.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, look, we're here and we are all ears, and we're going to try and get this story out to as many people as possible, because from what Amanda she gave us, it almost was like a movie trailer highlight. It kind of just gave us enough to be so interested.
I'm waiting for your book to be made into a film.
Exactly that, yeah. Could you kind of take us back to that point, or kind of just kind of give us an idea of obviously your background, where it all kind of started, and basically your journey?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you probably know that I grew up in Hemel Hempstead and became an engineer, went to Cav School, Decorum College. Got bored with all that, worked for Cisco, traveled the world, and then eventually just wanted to become a scuba instructor, live in the Caribbean. And that's where it starts in 2003. I left the UK, moved to the Caribbean. In fact, I quit Cisco Systems, and they said, right, that's it. You'll give you a leaving money and you can go off now. So I took the money and thought, right, what do I do? I turned up in the Caribbean literally one day to the scuba instructor that I used to go diving with. And I said, look, have you got a job? He said, yeah, I've got a job. You can come and become a dive master with me. And there's a house over there you can rent. There's a car, you can have my truck. And that's how it started. Literally, St. Kitts. And from there, I just got into St. Kitts, got into karaoke, got into drinking. There's virtually no drink drive laws in the Caribbean. So from the morning till night, I drink rum, I sing karaoke, go to work. And I was working as a scuba instructor. I'd done all my exams by this point, working as a scuba instructor. And I got a job as an engineer, working at Ross University. And so now a scuba instructor, engineer, and then I met my wife, who's from Las Vegas. she was working as an IT person in the casino there. So we got together, and that's really the essence, the nutshell of the nub of the story when we got together. Because at this point, a lot of numerology started creeping in. She was, and what I'm missing is a large part of the story here. I grew up with Jehovah's Witnesses, which I'm not anymore, so don't panic anyone to anyone in the audience. But I grew up with Jehovah's Witnesses, and that was a pretty serious thing. And when I met my wife, Candice, she wasn't a Jehovah's Witness. I mean, she had a Ouija. She was the opposite of Jehovah's Witness. It was that different. But a lot of numerology started creeping in. I started to see things more clearly. I started going from rum to cannabis every single day. That's island cannabis, straight natural herb.
Wow.
And that gave me profound insights into things I'd never considered before. I'll give you one of those things. The number 33, every 33 feet below sea level is an atmosphere. That means everything from the universe down to the floor that you're standing on is one atmosphere. That's this pressure around you right now. I think it's something like 1.2 pounds of that pressure. But every 33 feet underwater is that same pressure. And I think, well, who would care about that silly number, 33? And then you start to see the logical links through everything. That's how it really started. I was a scuba instructor. I started to see the numbers. And that opened up the Bible in a new way to me as well. And that's, okay, that there is the start of the story.
Yeah. So why was it that you came out of kind of the Jehovah's Witness side, or kind of did it just not fit you as a person, or?
Right. So this is the part of the story that starts with a scandal. So here I am in the Caribbean. I'm working at Ross University. I'm sitting at my desk just typing away one day, and an earthquake strikes. I've never felt an, you could be in Hemel. You probably never felt an earthquake either, right?
No, yeah.
Never.
Closest thing's probably.
So I've never felt an earthquake. Well, I thought it was Armageddon. I literally sat there and thought, it's it. This is the end. And in the doctrine as a Jehovah's Witness, you're taught, if Armageddon's really happening, the United Nations will try to make an interface. This is a doctrine and dogma. Will try and make an interface with the Jehovah's Witnesses, and there'll be some kind of proof of that. So I did an immediate Google search after I'd gotten out of the archway at the door. I'd gone through the earthquake, sat back down at my desk, and Googled United Nations and Jehovah's Witnesses. The very first document that shows up is an open letter from the United Nations saying that the Jehovah's Witnesses had been in a relationship from 1991 to just 3.5 weeks after 9/11 happened. And you think, okay, they've been in a relationship. What does that actually mean? Well, it means that the United Nations and the JWs were locked in a secret relationship over, they say, a library ticket. But the Jehovah's Witnesses teach that the United Nations are the wild beast or a devil. So you can't have anything to do with them. Okay, I take this document, I print it out, take it to the Jehovah's Witness elders. And the next thing they tell me, well, if you're going to talk about this, you're disfellowshipped. I was kicked out of the JWs for talking about the United Nations and the relationship that was secret up to 2001. That is how I got not to be a Jehovah's Witness.
Wow. And what was your
crazy,
feelings?
crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. What was your feelings at that point? Were you did you feel lost, or did you feel kind of?
Imagine all your friends. I know people all around the place being a JW. You get to meet, every circuit assembly with them. There's thousands of other JWs all the same. We all get together. We all my friends in one moment gone. Couldn't talk to them anymore. My parents technically, and my brother and my sister. My brother's called Joshua, my sister's called Tamar. Couldn't talk to them anymore, technically. So everything cut off one moment. All the people that I knew on the island couldn't talk to me anymore. And per capita, St. Kitts was the most amount of JWs per non in the world. So that was another big blow. So it was pretty hard.
Wow. Blimey, okay.
And then from that moment, I took it upon myself to say, okay, Lord, look, I've got no more religion. I sat on the beach with a big spliff. This is how I deal with the situation. I go down to the Half Moon Bay, which is a long beach, and I go to the end and I sit down and say, look, Lord, this is it. I've given everything to this religion and they kicked me out. I still love you, but what's going to happen next? And in that time of smoking that joint and just meditating, putting my hand out to calm any fears, to the Lord, just literally reached out my hand in front of me. A vision comes to me. I'm looking at I've got this beautiful wedding ring on, it's got 3 diamonds. And in that 3 diamonds, I see my 5 fingers. And I see both my 5 fingers. I see both my feet. And I see them wrapped around the Bible. Okay, that's strange, you might say, but I see that at the 5th book of the Bible, 5th chapter, 5th verse, and 5th word, there will be a message for me in there. This is all in the beach within 30 minutes of sitting down to meditate. So I go running back to the apartment, open the Bible. Sure enough, at Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 5, 5th word, Jehovah. I was like, what the actual heck? I thought, well, if this is a real vision from God, there'll be a 33 in it somewhere. Don't ask me how I know that. Just believe me at the moment.
Yeah.
Sure enough, verses 1 to 33 deal with the 10 Commandments and speaking to God through the fire. So I was like, what the heck? And so that is the start of the revelation that led to the date of Armageddon and how I decoded it.
It's crazy.
Right at this point, I'm gonna add in Freemasonry right here.
Okay, here we go.
I used to rail against Freemasonry. My dad was well against it. So I'm well into some of the things about it. So I'm railing one day in a laboratory at Ross University as an engineer, just to segue this into the story about Freemasonry and how corrupt and conspiring it all is. And my colleague, who's really, really intelligent guy, turned around to me and said, the highest degree is 33. And from that second, I suddenly saw the connection to everything based on measurements. So, the Washington Monument is 555 feet tall and 5 inches. 5th book of the Bible, 5th chapter, 5th verse, 5th word, Jehovah. At the top of the Washington Monument, the word Leos Deo, praise God. Charles Taze Russell, it turns out, who founded Jehovah's Witnesses, was a York Rite Freemason. I had that confirmed by 33rd degree at my lodge. This whole part of the story right now is I've gone full circle through hating Jehovah's Witnesses, hating Freemasonry, to becoming a Freemason on my own journey. Because now I understand what it's all about.
Yeah.
Just to segue it all in together.
That's crazy how it all happens, man. It is crazy.
Yeah.
No matter how you look at it or what your opinion is of it, it's when it's there and it's in front of you, it's just like, wow, cool, fair enough.
Yeah,
there's something else.
That's it, and I think it's one of these things where, like, people call it coincidence and stuff like that, but when it keeps showing up, you start to think, okay, there's something else here. I'm not sure what it is, but like, what? And if you, Jason, obviously, we can see just from the short story, you're a super. Just go with it. Go with the flow. Your kind of journey is lined out for you, and you're just accepting that, and you're kind of going with that. So I think, like, for you, obviously coming to that point of realization and then kind of being where you were, has there been any kind of backlash against, like, kind of the things that you kind of found yourself going into, or kind of like how did you end up in Hawaii?
That's such a good question. So my journey, left the UK, went to St. Kitts. I met my wife Candice, who's from Las Vegas. So we lived there for a good 5 years in St. Kitts. Married in 2005. I began blogging heavily online during that time, and I lost my job at the university in Yacht Ross for smoking cannabis. So
okay.
I was, I thought this is a real problem. Anyway, I had no job for quite some time in the Caribbean where my wife worked, and then she got another job in Miami. And not quite decided that I didn't love the Caribbean, but then I wanted to move, and I loved my wife, and so I wanted to move with Candice. I moved to Miami. Didn't like it, moved back to the Caribbean, moved to Miami, moved back to the Caribbean, moved back to Miami, literally that many times. Eventually stayed until I got another job back in Antigua with my wife, then followed me to become an engineer working for an online gaming company. It lasted about 6 months. I really didn't like online gaming. I don't know why I went for the job. I just loved Antigua. It's in the Caribbean, it's beautiful. So 6 months later, I discovered and started the job again in Antigua. Me and my wife are living a beautiful little hut next to the ocean, next to the Caribbean Sea, and we conceived our first son, Josiah. We charged to Wales, where he's born in July 2010. We can't get a job back in the UK. Wales is kind of like locked down for jobs. This is like 2000. Nothing's happening.
Yeah.
So then I moved. She gets a job in St. Lucia, back at a gaming company.
Wow.
The luck of the gods. God is on our side here. I'd brand new little baby boy Josiah. We all moved family, and we get a house down there. We start living. It's really pretty. We stayed there 2 years. We have a second son, Jacob, born there, 2012 in February. Then we moved to New York. She gets another job in New York. I still haven't got a job at this point, but I'm liking being a dad a lot. Get to New York, spend 1 year in Forest Hills in Queens. It's an amazing experience. Very loud, very busy, very exactly everything you'd expect, but quite pretty. Good food, good people. We then spend 2 years in Long Island. She gets another job, gaming company, better position. It was good, but we were living right on the JFK airport, right next to the freeway. It was New York.
Yeah,
From there, we went to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's Amish village, literally back 400 years. You've got men plowing the fields with horses. It was like Hemel Hempstead before Henry VIII got there. It was crazy old. It was party like in 1699, but it was beautiful in terms of the people. I've never been around that many horses before, and sheep and goats, and it was blessed. But my wife lost her job. My mummy died. My mother-in-law died, who was living with us. So we went through a whole bunch of tragedy, and I ended up with a one-way ticket to anywhere in the world. I said Maui. I'd heard of Maui through the Cheech and Chong movie, Up in Smoke. You know, Maui Wowie, the best.
Yeah.
So I went Maui. I've never been there, but from the moment I turned up in Maui, everything was blessed. I literally arrived with like $200 and 2 suitcases, but everything was blessed. I found a job, I found a car, I found a church, I found a lodge. I learned to play the ukulele, read the entire Bible, stopped drinking, stopped smoking. I haven't drunk or smoked now in 3 years, so but blessed. So that's how I got to Maui. That's the long short of the story.
Yeah. That's amazing. And why? Like, was there kind of like a choice of destinations, or was it just you just knew that Maui was the one?
Do you know, I just trust in God. I really have had a profound belief that guidance, wisdom, and the Holy Spirit are what, if we ask for it, they're there instantly. I just had a sense of knowing that wherever I was, that God would be with me, but especially that He would lead me to the right place. I said Maui was a profound decision, but I had been researching it for about a year before, so it wasn't, out of my. I just had never been here before. I just had no idea of the Hawaiian culture But being a windsurfer and a scuba instructor, I had a good idea of what to do in Hawaii.
Yeah. So, did you manage to find work in terms of kind of doing those two sports, or did you kind of fall into something else for the time being?
Well, this is it. This is the other weird too. In New York, I got injured. I got a blown Achilles and I got a clavicle injury on my shoulder. I knocked off my bike while I was cycling to get my sons from school. So I can't actually do physically that much at the moment. However, God is so good. First job I got here for 2 years was a pantry chef. Paid well, people were good. The guy I was living with at the time had a room he could let me rent. So yeah, everything was blessed from that moment. My first job, that was literally out of the blue. And then the second job was I got this re-injured again, and I looked online around Maui for another job. Found a delivery driver. The guy calls me up within a week and says, "Yeah, you can start." Been on it ever since. I'm now a dispatcher. But yeah. God is good. You just have to, I guess, have to believe the faith.
Yeah.
And the motivation, I guess.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm really intrigued into, going back to the Jehovah's Witness, when you kind of had that fallout with them, or kind of coming out of it, was there a point where you kind of second guessed like your religion or anything like that, or God, or did you think, no, that like he's still giving me the path? Like, you kind of had a real good trust on him. That's what it seems like. You've got a real good connection with God at the moment, and your life is like completely stress free. And I'm fascinated by that, and I think it's fantastic.
It's stress free now, and I make it look a lot stress freer than it. I mean, yeah, it's stress free to be fair. So yeah, the Jehovah's Witness is second guessing. So I went back to the Kingdom Hall within 2 or 3 weeks after being disfellowshipped in full placard and rebellion mode, handing out leaflets about the United Nations. So the elders at the Kingdom Hall circled me at the back, and they carried on the meeting. Of course, that didn't stop. Everyone's still there, sat in their seat, ignoring me completely. Yeah. Policeman turns up, asks, "Who's the problem?" I'm like, Well, I'm obviously peaceful. I've got a problem to anyone. That was the first attempt. The second attempt, I did it a bit more subtly. I went to the front, handed out one leaflet, and then walked to the back in peaceful protest. Again, the same thing happened, and the police said, "Oh, you, all right, off you go." So, you know, it was kind of like I had but in those times when I went back, I didn't feel any connection to the religion anymore. That was a strange thing. That's how I knew it was severed. I didn't feel like I wanted to sit down, pick up my watchtower and start answering up. I just didn't feel it in me anymore. I knew it was now gone. Yeah. Whatever was coming next, I'd be led to. That I'd had a faith in that. It took 12 years before I found Hope Chapel here in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And real nice church. But I found the lodge too, so you know everything works out.
Yeah. Did that make you, when you say obviously like kind of you didn't feel anything for them or for that side of the religion? Did it make you kind of feel lost at all, or did you feel like no, it's fine, like kind of what will be, and was there a point where there was no belief, or was it you always had that kind of spirituality for God?
I've always had, in combining everything together, that is a really good question, Josh. It's hard to put that into defining. So the paths and parallels in my life, growing up a Jehovah's Witnesses, baptism to becoming a scuba instructor, taught me to have faith, absolute faith in my environment and in my teachings. So I knew that the morality, I'd been taught morality. Becoming a scuba instructor, I knew not how to drown anymore with equipment on. And that was very important. You know, it takes you forward in life. So I realized that there's a connection between me and this mystic force that's greater than just my thinking. I have to feel. And I felt secure and safe wherever I was led to. And I would just have a knowing of where to go next. Not that that ever saved me from anything happening. It just, things were blessed when I got there.
Mm.
So, yeah, I guess it was a spiritual knowing. It was just a combination of factors. I mean, here's another thing for you. There are 33 vertebrae in the human spine and 33 joints in the human foot. We're not accidents. We're not evolved per se. You know what I mean? You've got 5 senses, 5 openings on the front of your face, 5 appendages to your torso, and I could go on and on and on. When we look at how connected we are to the God that said He created us, and the book of Numbers, we are numbers, and that's the positive thing. That keeps coming back to me every time something comes up in the news, or I get some report. I look at my bank statement. There's much more, like, you know, in the film The Matrix, where all Neo sees eventually is just the numbers. Counting of things that are going on, the background script, the program. Having the faith that that program is being written and you can do something about it by seeing what's written.
Amazing. So let's talk about the ukulele. I'm really interested.
Yeah.
How did you play us a little tune? Beautiful. Just about here it with the camera.
Just about hear that.
Oh, is it windy? Sorry, my wind's in me.
That's right. That's right. No, that's good.
Natural breeze, by the way.
Natural breeze. Beautiful. How long did it take you to pick that up?
So I've been here 3 years. Within the first few months of being here, I bought myself a $46 tiny little ukulele, and I learned to play this basic tune. I learned to play that over about a year and a half. And then as time went on, I picked up so many different styles from watching other people, being around church, being around players. Yeah, it took 3 years to get to this point.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything before this.
And has that been like a savior, well, not a savior, but like a real connection for you, or something that's like past time, or kind of what was the
There's
reason?
A deeper meaning to music, 100%. And
yeah, it is. Imagine being able to play any tune. Once you learn to play, this is a ukulele. This was given to me by a guy who's slightly autistic who lives on Kihei. It's worth a lot of money, let's put it this way. It's worth probably more than my car right now. It's a 6-string, low G, double C, double A. So it's got some special features to the way it sounds. It makes you feel connected to the universe because you can produce, while you're just resting and meditating, high on cannabis, whatever you might be doing, after you just come out the ocean of free diving. I love to free dive out here. Just start playing a tune running through your mind. and it gives you another dimension on any music you want to conjure up, play, listen to, love. You fall in love with the ability to listen to your own music.
Yeah.
It's a different experience, I guess. It's not listening to the radio anymore. It's not listening to your favorite album, whatever it might be. It becomes your own album as you create songs too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a limitless.
This is free diving on land.
Wow.
Limitless.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. So free diving, obviously, that's quite a sport, and especially you've got to have a good set of lungs for that. What's the kind of diving round where you are like?
Waters. I show you over my shoulders.
Yeah,
Yeah,
water's amazing.
You don't have to, honestly. Yeah. It's fine.
No, I know you don't actually want to see that ever again. Unless it's you personally here. I know, I hear you. I feel the same. But the point is, water's like that. And if you painted it that colour blue, it would look really good, by the way. But
yeah.
Yeah. Free diving. Down, I don't go much deeper than 50 feet at the moment. Been doing it since I was a kid. And over here, the water's like 100 feet visibility. I saw a seal on the beach a couple of weeks back.
I saw that. Yeah, very cool.
Out here, yeah. I saw a manta ray a few weeks back. Yeah, you get to see it all. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And you said obviously coming out of there, getting on the cannabis and things like that. How did you find cannabis? How did it come into your life? Getting on the cannabis.
So here I am at college. Back in, sorry, I'm going to put all my camera falls over again.
That's right.
Back in 2018, I was really having a time struggling at college. I was doing my YTS, BTEC, engineering, passing a few exams, failing everything else. And then one day at work in Precom, UICC networks, I was working in Apsley. Do you know Apsley?
Yeah, I know Apsley.
Yeah. So I was working at Apsley. I was working at the company there, and one of my mates introduces me to hash. Now, if you've never tried hash before, it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, no.
Go on. But anyway, so I used hash quite a lot when I was living in England, because you couldn't really get good herb. You couldn't get fresh, local grown herb, right? I don't know if you guys can, but I couldn't. Anyway, moving to the Caribbean, I was exposed to plenty of rafters who had fresh, local herb. Okay, some of it wasn't, like Amsterdam quality or, real good nugs and sticky stuff, but it was constant, and I had it every single day from the moment I woke up in the morning till about 5 o'clock at night, where I couldn't smoke anymore. I couldn't sleep. But here, so I used to grow my own in New York. I had my own tent. So I used to grow in a little grow tent in the garage, which is real.
That's amazing.
Interesting.
Yeah, could you get away with that?
Yeah, I did. I had all the filter systems, so it was all indoors. The smell was hidden. Everything was kind of like down low. It was good. It worked. I grew a couple of plants every 2 months, and I smoked them instantly. But when I got to Hawaii, I got a doctor's certificate for having post-traumatic stress disorder, for being a Jehovah's Witness, to prescribe me my own 3 ounces, as much as I can carry on me.
Oh, that's
all the time. And I would show it to you, but for fear you try and run through the camera at me, no.
What made you want to give it up?
Give up what?
Cannabis.
You haven't given up.
No, I never gave it up.
It was smoking.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I don't smoke tobacco. I don't smoke tobacco
okay.
or drink rum anymore. I don't drink at all. I haven't drunk in 3 years, but yeah, I used to do a lot of drinking. Well, I'm British.
Yeah, the old drinkers.
That's what we're good at.
Yeah.
We're good at standing in queues and drinking.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And moaning about standing in queues.
Not social distancing though, but there you go.
No.
So how come, like, you obviously said, like, when you're in the Caribbean that you obviously were drinking a fair amount. Was that just through the lifestyle? It was just that, because I've been out to the Caribbean, the Dominican, and it seemed like, look, I was young at the time, but it seemed like they wake up, the rum is there. It's like rum. They love rum. And it seemed like, I could imagine if you were working out there or something, that it becomes like, not water, but it just becomes like the drink that everyone has. Like,
Josh, exactly. Carry on.
I was going to say, did you just get caught up in it, or did you see it as a negative eventually, or was it kind of, it never was a negative, but you just came out the other side and it was like, no, I'm not really bothered too much by it?
So I used to cope with traumatic trauma from being a Jehovah's Witness by drinking. That's how I used to cope. But that was just fear. And then eventually I got introduced to the Rothschilds, which is the local St. Kitts rum, which is almost like wine, but it's really fine, good rum. You can drink it neat. And that's really back in 1998 that was. So I really got turned on to rum in 98. When I got to the Caribbean, I was already alcoholic. I was already smoking big cigars. Because they grow sugarcane in St. Kitts, they brew their own rum, or they, whatever they do with it. Filter. What do they do with it? Distill their own rum. Yeah. So it's cheap. The costly thing about living in the West Indies are fillers, the juices. So put orange juice in your glass, that'll cost them more than to put rum. So the glass is always full anyway.
Yeah.
Without the drink drive laws, I could get from home to work to the bar every day, pretty much high on rum. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and would people be?
You spread it out.
Would people
the
be
closest thing to a pirate?
Yeah, the closest thing to a pirate. Yeah.
Closest country to being a pirate.
Yeah. So would you literally
the most?
Go on, sorry.
No, I was going to say the most amount of pirates hung anywhere in the Caribbean were hung in St. Kitts. Carry on, sorry.
Oh wow, there you go.
Yeah, I know.
And I was going to say, would you find that often you'd be not you personally, but you'd turn up to work and there would be people who had still kind of had a drink before they'd gone into work? Was that quite a cultural thing that there was a lot of alcoholics there, or was it almost seemed like the norm, so it wasn't a problem?
Scuba instructing job. No, it was just me that was the alcoholic when I was. I mean, I literally turned up for work, hungover and puking underwater through my regulator. It was that bad. And then, but at Ross University, where even the faculty and staff have got rum and coke as they walk around the campus, no, it wasn't a problem there. But the only problem at the campus was me smelling like I'd just come out of the holy tent. So that was the real issue.
Just with smoke in the trail.
Lovely smell.
Yeah, I love it myself. I'm definitely like you.
You want to bottle that up and start selling that as perfume.
It'll come. I think it's already in the UK. I think it just has some political willpower that needs to be put forward to change the stigma. I think it's already there. I think it's on the cusp. I literally got a license. I've literally got a license. I pay $100 a year for it. It's recertified, and they just check me. A nurse or a doctor will check me. And I go to a dispensary. I register there, and they've got everything from capsules, pills, flowers, spliffs, everything I could possibly want for a reasonable price. Kind of. It's expensive, I'll give you, yes, but it's there.
Yeah. And is that kind of those kind of pills or capsules and stuff like that? Has got the THC in, or is it very like CBD derived?
Sir. Nope, THC all the way. Local grown too.
Yeah. When did that become
oil.
legal in Hawaii?
It's not been very long. It's like in the last years I've been here, only just. So the license I could have had 3 years ago, but that only was just introduced. And it's been decriminalized now since January.
I was going to say,
have up to 3 atoms. I could have up to 3 atoms if I didn't have my card, and I'd be okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, because obviously you've got like a medical reason for it, but then people who are just generally trying to get hold of marijuana and stuff like that, they still can. It's not like it's just a medical based law.
No, right. So if you're connected, like in the UK, you can just pick it up anywhere. I mean, this is the Hawaii; it's everywhere. Yeah. So if you didn't have a card, you just get it anyway. I've got one because I just like going in the dispensary and looking at all the stuff in there.
Yeah.
Other than that, I could also, if I had a house here with land, I could grow 10 plants or more, or 10 trees.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm licensed to do that.
That's crazy.
That's interesting. Yeah. And it's like.
Is it like a dispenser machine when you go into the shops?
No, it's like a sweet shop. They've got everything in little glass cabinets. You look down and say, one of those, please, one of those, please, one of those, please. And you
get Mrs. Sims' shop.
Oh my God, it sounds unreal, man. That's crazy.
It's lovely. Look, if you want to see it, look at MauiGrownTherapies.com and you'll see the dispensary right there. and all the menu of all the good stuff.
I'm not sure if I want that on my internet browsing history. To be
No,
fair.
you probably drool.
So with obviously all
that's
of this stuff, like you said, it's not there's a cost to it, obviously. Now, my parents, they went out to Honolulu and Waikiki, and they basically were saying that the actual living, like driving and petrol, was extortionate. Now, is that from import, or is that purely like, is it an imported thing because of the costs, or is it generally quite an expensive living out there?
It's expensive living out here. It's one of the most expensive places to live, even than some Southern Californian cities. At the moment, rent here for a bedroom is $600 a month for a bedroom. So you're talking, I know, and it's expensive. They haven't got much self-sufficiency. They're growing their own local produces, but of course we rely on imported gas. They started doing hemp biofuel here now last year, so that will take us forward. They still burn biodiesel. They do have wind generators and a lot of solar power. But because of the way housing is, because rent's so high, because housing's so high, or has been high up until this virus hit, the cost of living is gross. Yeah.
Yeah. And what generally is there much poverty around Hawaii, or is it generally quite an affluent place where you are, or is there kind of a mix?
Both, very much both. So on one hand, you've got Ferraris and dom-coms by the ocean, real beautiful places, mansions. On the other hand, you've got guys outside St. Teresa's Church pushing hand carts, picking up water bottles and cans to make money.
Sure.
So there's both ends of the spectrum and everything in between.
Yeah. I can imagine it's quite a humbling experience, especially being able to see both of those sides, seeing the Ferraris and, being in paradise, but obviously being on the other side of it. Yeah, amazing. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, the Caribbean.
Owning a Ferrari and having a view like that, eh?
Yeah.
I know. I try and give up my Ferrari at the weekends. No, but seriously.
Couldn't ask for much more.
I had this experience though in the Caribbean when poverty was widespread and there were a few nice mansions. But that was what taught me about third world and the community and the love that can exist even though people are poor. That took me beyond living in Hamilton, living in London, living in Dorset. That showed me what living could actually be like. And there's a lot of love in that circumstance.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
Drew and I were talking a podcast or two ago about kind of situations that you see a lot of people in where we've got money, health, and what was the other one, Drew? Happiness.
Wealth, health, and happiness.
And we were kind of putting them in ranks, and we were trying to
what ranks the highest for you?
Yeah, and I think for me, I was saying about health because you don't want to have health if you can't. You don't want wealth if you can't be healthy, and obviously happiness especially. But Drew, you made a really good point. Look, happiness is kind of one of the main things. If you're happy, pretty much anything can be your
happiness is key for me. Like happiness will always be at the top. Don't get me wrong. Like I want to have my health. Wealth is at the bottom. Like because money doesn't make you happy. Don't get me wrong. It can rent it, but I don't think money makes you happy. Obviously, if you've got your health and things like that, you're going to be happy. But if you're not, no, God, I don't know. If you're not healthy, that doesn't mean you then can't be happy. You've just got to learn to be happy within your situation. And I feel happiness is the root of all evil, man. If you're not happy, then it's just a downward spiral. So you got to try and find happiness in whatever situation you're in. As hard as that may be, happiness for me is the main.
Especially in the world currently.
Go on, Josh, sorry.
I was just saying, especially in the current situation of the world, with the pandemic.
It's all going left right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I agree with you, Drew. No, I see what you're saying. And Josh, you're right. Happiness, though, if you're seeking happiness, you're looking inside straight away. It's not something you can get externally. As you said, Drew, you could probably rent it, but it doesn't deliver to anything that's inside you. True happiness comes from finding out who is within, who you are. You know everybody else. But who are you, really, deep down, inside? When you find that, when you take that trail and begin that journey, then you find the road path to happiness. It's a pathway, not something to be delivered, not something you can order from Amazon. It's not something you can download, or rent, but it's a journey. And yeah, you have to begin the journey somewhere. Wherever you are, starts that journey. It's like, to me, in Groundhog Day with Bill Murray, from the moment he woke up to the moment he was the best version of himself, that is happiness.
Oh,
that's how to find it.
It's a very, very good analogy right there.
Yeah.
Very good.
So what's it, obviously being with happiness, we were talking about the pandemic, what is it like in Hawaii? Because it's I always think that Hawaii is very, I would like to call it separated and kind of disconnected to the States, because I see it as its own entity. Hawaii is totally different. That's what I personally look at. I think it's a completely separate state or kind of connection. I don't see it as one of the kind of 50 United States. I think it's incredible, kind of the place and everything like that. But how have they dealt with the pandemic? How's it been there? What's the general feeling?
So we got through. We had 652 cases in the end, maximum for the whole state of Hawaii, which was blessed.
And what's the population?
That's a good question. Now, I can tell you what Maui Island is. Will that help? 167,000 people on this island.
Okay.
We had I think it turned out to be 117 cases total.
Wow.
One death or two deaths.
Christ,
but the factors behind it, we have tropical sunlight in abundance, heat in abundance, and humidity all the way to the mountains. So we had low community spread. We had a lot of tourist leave. It's been very quiet. It's a very conservative place, a very proud place. So people really kept the lockdown. Every beach was empty. This became a ghost town for a couple of months. There was nobody around. We got through it. At the moment, there's no more cases.
Wow.
We've been very blessed.
That's incredible. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, you're looking at, in terms of those numbers, it's like 0.01 in terms of like percentage of cases, and in terms of deaths, Jesus, like 0.0001 or something like that. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think you're potentially on the money in terms of the living situation. You're getting plenty of sun, so the vitamin D, it is certainly in you, and they're potentially saying that high rates of, or if you don't supplement vitamin D, could actually be your immune system fighting the virus to actually physically coming down with it. And do you think there's an element of stress-free living there as well? Because it seems like the deaths are very low compared to the numbers, or just kind of the situation of being something about Hawaii. They've obviously got a something on the money there in terms of what they're doing.
But geographically, if you look at Hawaii on a map, we are separated from every other continent by 2,000 miles.
Yeah.
If you turn the Earth to Hawaii facing upwards, we're pretty much on top of the planet with nothing around us. Fresh air, clean mountains, plenty of rain and sunlight, stress-free living, yes. But there are still stresses. We still get hunger. We still get, illnesses. People still get broken cars. There's still burglaries and thefts. But generally, because I can drive by the ocean every single day and breathe air in the evening and watch the sunset across the sea, it helps an immense amount. If you were going to look at Hawaii as a house, what are the three things that are the best things to look for in buying a house?
What was that, sorry?
A view.
What was the question?
What are the three things to look for when buying a house? Three things. Only the best things.
A garden.
Well, I'd say potentially
a big kitchen.
Location, right?
Yeah.
That's what any real estate agent will say.
I got
location. Yeah, you need a garden, but as long as it's in a good location, Drew, I'm with you, bro. I hear you.
And a big kitchen. Don't forget the big kitchen. Heart of the home.
In the right location. Yeah, it's in the kitchen area. I know. But yeah. So if Hawaii is like, I landed in the best place in the world for me. You know, I'm a windsurfer, I'm a scuba instructor, I love playing now ukulele, I love smoking cannabis, I love the vibration here, I love reggae music. You might have guessed, you might tell from my shirt and top. I'm in the right place at the right time. So just been very blessed. No complaints at all.
I think we just logged our lowest day for COVID, and it's the same amount of people that you've had get the virus.
Yeah.
Wow.
In total.
Just wow.
Yeah.
And that's today.
How do you guys feel about the current, sorry to take it off, the current government? I've been watching the shenanigans with the Dom C and BJ and all of, I know, you're scratching your ear, Drew, I see you, brother. You don't have to answer that, because you're probably trying to
No, I'm not.
We're happy to answer. I think from my side, we mentioned it a couple of times on the podcast, is it was, the government were good at the start in terms of, well, look, there's debate in terms of whether they were too late, too early, and there was kind of the original kind of talks where they were going like Sweden, so they were looking at the herd immunity to try and get through faster. Then I think through pressure, they kind of turned around through one of the discovery papers by one of the universities, and it kind of was pressured to lock down, which I think potentially was too late. And then one of the big factors were we were still keeping the airports open and allowing people to do transfer flights and things like that to be able to get home. And I think they estimated around 18 million people would come through the airport and connected to a flight or come into the UK. So there's a hell of a lot of people, which obviously then could, you know, it is basically the recipe for our numbers to jump through the roof. So I think they were just so late in regards to that, or in terms of really kind of pushing that. And I think they wanted to look good, but that's not the case. You know, look, the one thing, this could be very controversial to say, but I saw Trump take very quick action in terms of the United States is locked down to these countries. Bang, 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 bang. No one goes in, no one goes out. And it was I thought we need to do that, but we just didn't. We kind of almost were trying to keep friends with everyone, saying, look, it's all right, you can get home and stuff like, but they weren't quarantining people when they were coming home for 14 days. They kind of were just letting them go back to their families. So I think it was kind of a very big mix. And I think from what they are now and what they're doing, they're potentially at the risk now, or I think you've even gone past it, of treating us like children. And of course, children rebel, especially the British. We just kind of, we seem to, Drew and I were talking about this the other day about, they've just allowed us to have kind of a meeting of 6 people from different households and things like that, you know, still keeping your social distance. Well, you go out on a sunny day, you've got people with barbecues, you've got whole families meeting up, and like people it was almost like we were already doing what they were allowing us to do now. We're always one step ahead, and we're always kind of pushing the boundaries just to see where the slap on the wrist is. And I think that's where the UK is now. I think the government have lost really the faith of the British public. And, you know, unfortunately that's the case. And people are still abiding by the rules, but unfortunately with the devastation and things like that that's happening in America as well, that's coming over this side, which obviously rightfully so, with kind of the Blackout Tuesday that's been on Instagram, and the Black Lives Matter, with obviously everything that's going on in, the whole of the United States. So we've got big crowds meeting up here and things like that. So in terms of the virus, like, that's a huge ground for it to be spreading. But I think the government can't say anything. They can't do anything. Like, it's, the government's kind of tripping over itself a little bit at the moment. And I think public are very loosely losing the faith in it. But that's my take of it.
Well, what you described there, Josh, is the brink of societal collapse. And I don't know if you know the significance of what I just said there, but that is what you just described. The government in self-decay, entropy, and the society on the brink of not collapsing, that same government. Societal collapse. That leads to riots, to all kinds of crazy stuff.
So, I mean, would you say that's kind of pretty much what's happening in the US now, obviously with the riots? Because I thought, you know, the protests are fine, but then it seemed to suddenly go into riots, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, like, this is escalating, but it was escalating so fast through each of the states. Like it was kind of obviously Minneapolis and Minnesota, and then suddenly I was looking at LA, and LA was getting absolutely like Gucci was getting smashed up, and like I was thinking, well, hang on, it's jumping very fast, and it was like the whole of the population has come as one, as a unit, and it's almost like the collapse of pretty much politics. It's frightening.
Yes. No, basically, yes. Yeah. Hitler was a politician, right?
What's that? Sorry.
Hitler was a politician. You know that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Just significantly.
Hitler.
Just to point.
Okay, we're
point
going down this way.
No, I'm just saying that. Just to point it out, because when I put those two words together, I suddenly saw the spectrum of influence upon society. Still, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I'm trying to say there. Just trying to say that spectrum exists still today, and it hasn't gone away, which is ugly when you think about it. But it jumped quickly. It's kind of funny how you guys see things. I've been in America quite a long time now, so I was watching the news. America was quite slow to shut down from my perspective, and the UK even slower. I mean, that's how I saw it. Hawaii, I'll give the inside story to this. So I've been watching the news a long time. I analyze it. I do a lot of stuff with the news. I went to the lodge back in February and speaking to a 33rd degree Freemason there. He's a good friend now. And I said to him back then, he'd just come back from Louisville, and he had a cold, and I was just talking about it and saying, pretty much it's germ warfare, isn't it? And he said, and he wouldn't be drawn on the actual specifics, but he wasn't in disagreement with me. And that was back in February. And pretty much, Hawaii shut down pretty quickly after that, and the US was way too slow, it seemed, to shut down, because we still had millions and millions of people coming in. New York, as you saw, was flooded. Crisis, the ship. But anyway, in the UK, my little prop for my camera keeps falling down. I'm sorry, guys. I'm basically using a ukulele book as a prop camera, and it's so breezy here. I'll be there. Anyway, I'll stop talking and let you guys carry on. That was my perspective, anyway.
No, yeah, it was fascinating. I was going to say, sorry, just quickly, I was just going to say, with Hawaii, did you shut down before the United States as a whole, or
as soon as the declaration was made, the governor, shut down. That was it. So my little son just come online, guys. He's even a bigger priority than even this conversation. So bear with me. My little sons are Josiah and Jacob, and they're in Henderson, Nevada, currently. So they live over in Las Vegas. I went to see them last year, and it was amazing.
Yeah. But
we keep in touch via video now, like you guys and me doing. We do this every week and every day if we could.
Oh, fantastic.
So I'm going to have to wrap this up because he's come online and he takes even bigger priority than your blessed.
No problem at all.
That's no problem.
I'm going to wrap this up now, Drew and Josh. Thank you very much, guys. Love you guys.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Honestly, absolute pleasure.
Let's do it again. Yeah.
Yes.
100%. I'd love to.
There's more to talk about.
Somewhere inside, though, so we can't see your view, all right?
Yeah.
That is a problem for me, guys, and that comes to the next part of the story.
Okay. We'll look forward to the next part.
Thank you.
We'll look forward to it.
Lovely.
Jason, thank you so much.
Man. There we have it. Thank you very much for watching the XXL podcast. That was Jason
Graves.
Thank you.
Jason Graves, ladies and gents. What a story.
A very, very interesting gentleman. Probably got a lot more to tell us. So we're definitely have to get him back on in the future. Although he needs to find somewhere he can record inside because I don't want to look at his view.
Yeah, that, and there's parts that I couldn't hear.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one on the end. We'll see how it turns out.
You're going to be watching it, ladies and gents, and then
like this to the screen, everyone. Anyway,
honestly, absolutely incredible. But look, filming all the way from Miami, Hawaii.
So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. Let us know if you want to come on the podcast yourself. Peace.
And all that jazz. Big love. Jason Graves, ladies and gents. Part 2 coming soon.